Are you looking to grow your dental practice and attract top-tier new patients? Discover the potential of digital marketing with a personalized strategy session. Join Lila Stone, the marketing director at Ekwa, for an exclusive 90-minute consultation. Lila and her team will dedicate 6 hours before your meeting to create a customized marketing plan specifically for your practice. This valuable opportunity is free of charge and comes with no commitments. Visit www.insuranceuntangledorg/MSM to schedule your meeting with Lila today. You'll also receive a free analysis report so you can start transforming your practice through the power of digital marketing.
You are now listening to another episode of the Insurance Untangled podcast, where we explore the various challenges faced by dental practices due to their reliance on insurance. Join us in this podcast as we dive deep into the issues surrounding dental insurance dependence and offer practical solutions and strategies to help you take control of your practice's financial future.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the Insurance Untangled podcast. My name is Ben Tuinei, and I'm one of the co-hosts for this podcast. And as you all know, we've created this podcast and dedicated it towards helping you with the mess of insurance within dental offices. Today I have Naren, my good buddy Naren, that we're going to talk about some phone experience and things that are important for practices to sort of get a good handle on as it pertains to communication. Naren, how are you, my friends? Good to see you.
Yeah, so glad to be here, Ben. I always look forward to these conversations. So thank you for doing this.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And we're talking about something that I actually really love talking about and love picking people's brains on. And so the title for today's episode is Phone Experience is Vital to Your Practice Health. And you could rephrase that to say, how is phone experience vital to the practice's health, or how can we improve the phone experience because it is vital to a practice's health, which is something that I totally agree with. It all starts with first impressions, right, Naren? Is if we make a good impression with people that are investigating even us or existing patients, it makes for a world of difference in terms of their experience. So let's get started just with the first question that comes to mind, Naren. How well does an average practice do when it comes to answering phones, but specifically for new patients?
That's a great question. And if you were to stop 10 practice owners today and ask them this, I bet most of them will say, we do really well, right? And the reason they say that is they handpicked the people who work for them, right? They hired the office manager, they hired the people answering the phone. And of course, they even check in with these individuals. And most of the time, 99% of the time, they'll say, yeah, we're doing a great job, right? Nobody says, I'm not good at this, or we have a problem in this, right? Because they don't want to, scare the boss. So if you were to ask them, if you were to ask 10 practice owners, they would say they're doing great. But if you were to look at the numbers, numbers don't lie. The average dental practice in the United States only books 1 out of 3 new patients. Meaning you get 100 new patients calling your office, the average practice books 33 of them, which means 67 of them are not booking appointments, right? So the answer is very poorly. The average practice does extremely poorly when it comes to phone experience.
I remember.
Go
ahead.
This 33 that I was referring to, out of 100, so that is 33%. That's what we call conversion rate. So the average practice does really poorly when it comes to conversion rate.
Yeah. That's kind of alarming that it's only a third. In my mind, I was thinking that was a lot higher, especially for practices that do make a good attempt to answer their phones. But that's interesting. Kind of reminds me of I used to. I volunteered for a volunteer organization, and the receptionist for that organization. This was in Auckland, New Zealand. She was so rude to people over the phone, in an organization that is entirely funded by its donors. And so she was so rude to people, and we lost so many donors. I remember a lot of them complained that, hey, so-and-so that answers your guys' phones is just very rude. And it cost us quite a bit of donations that we needed to operate to do what we were trying to do, right? And it all started with who was the face of your business, of the organization, right? In this case, it wasn't a business, it was a not-for-profit organization. So that kind of leads me to the next question here, is that you talked about that 33% conversion rate. Can you define the conversion rate a little bit further so that our listeners kind of understand, well, what does conversion rate actually mean?
Yeah. So conversion rate is you listen to every single phone call coming in. So today you can use technology for this. And then you identify new patient callers, right? Because remember, existing patients also will be calling using your number. And of the new patient callers, what percentage of them are actually booking an appointment? So the conversion rate is those who booked an appointment divided by total number of new patient callers.
Mm.
Patients who booked an appointment divided by new patients who call your office. And you can do this in a month. That's what I recommend, or in a week. But month is good because then every month you can check this. If your conversion rate is growing, so let's say it goes from 33% to 45%, your office manager is doing something about it. He or she is, working on it, to improve it. But if it's not growing, it's just yo-yo, like up and down and up and down and pretty much close to the bottom end, then you as a practice owner have a problem and you have to get involved.
Yeah, I agree. So in a roundabout way, what you said in the beginning on the first question, out of 100 patients, most practices are only scheduling 33, right? Which gives you that 33% conversion rate. Why is that number so low? Is it exclusively practices are not answering phones, or are there other reasons?
Yeah, I mean, the real answer is, I would like to give you a quote. Peter Drucker was considered to be like the father of management, right? He kind of came up with a lot of ideas which we today use in management. And he said his famous quote is, "What you measure, improve." The number one reason conversion rate is so low is this is not being measured by 90% of practices. Because it's not measured, it doesn't improve. Because it's not measured, even it's 33% or 25%, you don't know about it. So like the number one reason by far the conversion rate is low is because people don't measure it. They don't have the technology or the capability to measure it. Now, we offer that as part of our service to all of our clients. And it's so vital because think about it, right? You're spending so much time and money on marketing. And if your average conversion rate is 33%, you might as well take 2/3 of your marketing spend and like light a campfire and throw those dollars into it. I mean, literally, that's what you're doing, right? And you're doing it month after month after month after month after month after month, or year after year after year. So it's like the dumbest thing ever. But unfortunately, the marketing companies you work with don't provide this capability, or you don't have this capability. So it becomes this money pit. And I guess this is why you see doctors, jumping from this company to that company, because they know things are not working, but they don't know why it's not working. So a huge part of marketing is starting to unpack why you're struggling. It could be your SEO is bad. It could be your phone experience is bad. It could be your landing pages. But the key is to find out, what's a famous phrase, right? Don't throw the baby with the bathwater. If you don't know what the problem is, that's what people do. They just throw the baby and start all over again. Throw the baby and start all over again. Instead of, okay, what the bathwater is dirty, let's throw the bathwater. And that bathwater could be the landing pages, or could be SEO, or could be the way you're answering the phone, right? And just deal with that. Like, okay, we'll clean the bathwater, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it sounds so basic and like stupid, but that's the number one reason. Just if you don't know your conversion rate, you can't improve it.
I'm still hung up on that old adage, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I wonder if somebody actually did that and then they created that phrase. That poor baby.
I swear somebody probably did that. Especially a dad, maybe not a mom, but definitely a dad. I can visualize dad.
I think many of us were probably thrown out with a bathwater as kids, at least those of us from the 80s and before. Oh, that's awesome, Naren. So as far as, when I think about this 33% conversion rate, right?
Yeah.
If we got 90%, for most practices, that's more than 2.5 months worth of new patients, right? What mistakes are practices making that causes them to lose out on 67% of new patient opportunities?
Yeah, I'm not talking about the team member. I'm really like addressing the practice ownership, the management team.
Yeah.
Couple of mistakes, right? Number one of you obviously is not knowing your conversion rate month after month. And again, don't ask your team member for this, because that's like, asking your own kid to give you how well he did in math. And I bet every kid will say, I crushed it.
I know, getting 67% is like, yeah, I'm getting a passing grade. That's my son. He's at 92% now, but I totally know what you mean.
Yeah. So I mean, that's why schools have, grades, and they send the report card, and most schools go to the extent of having the parents sign off on it, right? Because they know kids won't show it.
Right.
So like, you need to get your dad's signature or your mom's signature, so the teachers know that you're seeing it. So same way. So number one is conversion rate. So that's the number one mistake that the ownership management makes. The second mistake is, okay, let's assume your conversion rate is low. You need to rally around it. You need to look at that number as a team, meaning everyone answering the phone, including the office manager and or the owner, at least once a month, to see, okay, I got this report. It's telling me my conversion rate is 33%. It's also telling me here are the calls my team did well, meaning we booked an appointment, and here are the calls where we did not book an appointment. What can we do about it? If we did not book an appointment, in these calls, then now we can, listen to them, find out what we did wrong, and improve on it. So creating a method of like listening to calls as a group in a safe environment. You don't want this to be like people dreading it and trying to come up with excuses, but rather a safe, encouraging. So you play the call. You obviously start with good calls. So let's say you have 3 people answering the phone. Pick one good call and one bad call for each, and play the good one. And talk about what they did right and talk about what they could improve. So ask the person, hey, you did a great job. What are some of the things you thought you did right that hopefully we can all learn from? Great. What are some of the things you think you could improve? And then do that around the room so everyone feels like everyone is contributing. And again, tell them, like, no fall, no harm, because we never tracked this before. This is the very first time we are doing this. It doesn't matter whether we are 19%, because how do you blame a kid who's getting 19% when that's the very first report card, right? He was not asked to work on it. So how can he improve it, right? So same thing here. And then, just keep doing that on a regular basis, once a month. So number one is conversion, tracking conversion rate. Number 2 is having a weekly safe forum where everyone can talk and learn and grow together. And number 3 is, setting some targets and goals, right? Like say, hey guys, I know we are at 39%, but let's at least try to get to 45. The very first time we are doing it, let's not kill ourselves doing this. Let's set a simple goal. And if we do that, we're all going to, go out for dinner. We're all going to do this. We're all going to celebrate, right? Create that environment of like continuous improvement and so forth. I think that safe environment where the doctor is very supportive and, almost like making excuses for the team, saying, oh, no, I understand you are busy. That's why, it took 2 minutes to, answer the call. And the other tip I would recommend is there will be some issues that will point back at the practice itself. Like, for example, one of the common things I see is new patients have to wait sometimes to come see the doctor, like, 2 months, 1 month, 6 weeks, 3 weeks. Now, you need to do something about it. You meaning the ownership/management. Okay, we're going to put some slots where new patients can come in like within a week. People today don't want to wait more than a week. So now you may also have to make some changes. Oh, we have been telling our team to handle these calls this way. Guys, no, let's handle it that way. So you might have to also look in the mirror and say, we are going to make some changes because listening to the calls, the way we are doing things is not working, right? So break your own rules, change your own way of thinking, and be open to it. That way, it's not just about the team members and it's their fault. No, it's some of the reason could be the team members not knowing how to do their jobs or how to answer questions. Some of it is the policies or the lack of things you did or didn't do. Like in that case, you didn't make a new patient appointment available. That's on you, right? Fix it. Or you had a policy that's turning, your team is like turning, like I literally had a call where a lot of certain kinds of patients were being referred out to some other practice, and the doctor was listening to the call. No, we have somebody doing that kind of work now. We shouldn't be referring out. But somehow that was not communicated to that person, and that person keeps still referring it out. And because nobody was reviewing the calls, we didn't know that was going on, right?
Right.
So anyway, so those are like some of the quick tips on what you as practice management/ownership can do.
No, that's good. I'm glad that you broke that down to the ownership side, because real change starts with leadership, right? The leadership of the practice, or any business for that matter, right? And it's almost as if, when it comes to addressing or identifying and resolving issues to help make the practice better, is that the leader make sure that the ladder is on the right roof, right? And creates a structure to make it easy for people to climb that ladder, right? And be motivated to climb that ladder if that ladder represents improvement, So let's look at the other side, Naren. What are some common mistakes that team members are making when it comes to answering the phones? Once that ladder is set right, and all that structure is put in place by the leaders, what are the mistakes that team members are making with regards to answering phone calls?
Yeah, I do think there's a couple of big mistakes. One is mindset, right? A lot of team members think their job is to answer the call versus their job is to make a great first impression and get the new patient to book.
Mhm.
So just changing the way they think is a huge first step, because the person who thinks their job is to answer the call just answers questions, right? Person who thinks his or her job is to make a great first impression and book that appointment starts building a rapport. Hello, I'm Jenny. Who am I speaking to? Oh, John, so glad you called. Hey, I'm Naren. Who am I speaking to? Ben, I'm so glad you called. So they start building a rapport. They start sharing their name, asking for name, using that name, finding out the real reason the patient want to come. Of course, not the, oh, I need XYZ done, because once you get into technical, the emotion goes out. Oh, I have a
Right.
wedding coming up and I want to get that beautiful smile. Or, oh, I moved into town and I had a wonderful dentist, but I'm looking for the same kind of a home here for me and my family. Understanding that, empathizing with that. And remember, the goal of the practice, the person answering the phone, is to make that first impression. I even call them first impressions officers, and book their appointment. Many practices don't ask for the appointment. Do you prefer mornings or evenings? Do you prefer, early in the week or later in the week? What about Tuesday at 9 a.m.? Like again, instead of giving them a time, letting them choose. That way, they feel like they are part of making the decision, which will later on improve them actually showing up, because they chose that date. The chance of them showing up goes up significantly. So
Yeah.
asking for appointments. And then there are like some alleyways, some, like if you go there, you're going to get shot, parts of places where you don't want to take the patient. So, and
Right.
patients a lot of times will ask questions they know how to ask. And one of those famous questions is, how much does XYZ cost? And the mindset that a lot of people answering the phone have is, oh, he's a shopper, price shopper. And immediately our tone goes down. We are not excited, almost like the game is lost before you even, face the ball. Like, I mean, you like literally give up and like, okay, whatever. He's not going to go anywhere. You're like giving up. Obviously, you're not going to win it. So in that case, like, just give them the benefit of the doubt. That's what I would do when I go and take my car for work. The only question I know to ask is, how much is it going to cost? I don't know anything about carburetors or, XYZ. Like, I ask what I know to ask. So don't judge them, and if you had already built the rapport and the relationship, you don't have to go down that alleyway and get shot. You can say, hey, you know what, come on in, etc., etc. Anyway, I don't want to make this into a training session, because we can spend 3 hours doing this. We literally listen to calls and help practice owners as and when needed on like what they can do to improve. Another question that stumps people is, do you take my insurance? Patient is not asking, are you on this PPO plan or not? They're just saying, hey, somebody gave me something for free, which I never paid for. They don't say that, but that's what they're thinking. And can I use it? It's just like, sometimes you get a gift card you didn't pay for, somebody gives you on a birthday, and you're like, does it still work, right? You're calling the office and saying, oh, I got this 3 years ago. Can I still use it? The same kind of a thing. So just say, yeah, absolutely. We have many, many, many patients, whether you are in network, out of network, doesn't matter. We have many, many, many patients with that plan. We have an insurance coordinator. Her job is to get you every penny. Absolutely. We take XYZ insurance. And what a lot of practices do is they answer a question that was never asked. Oh, we are not in a PPO plan and this and that. And you go into this, like I said, this alleyway where you get shot, meaning the patient never shows up because of the way you handle those questions. I know I can do entire episodes on this, but I'm just giving you a few tips.
Yeah, no, that's actually perfect. I love that. You have to be creative when you're answering phones and addressing concerns with people, But at the end of the day, in my opinion, as it pertains to customer service, because that's what this is, it takes training. It takes a good understanding of effective communication, in a way that makes potential new patients feel comfortable, and feel that you're going to take care of them, right? So there's a lot more to it that I know that Naren has in his brain with regards to training, but we won't touch on any more of that since in the interest of time, I'm going to hit the last question here I have for you, Naren. So I know that some people are listening to this thinking, well, gosh, it would be great to have that problem where my phones are just ringing off the hook for potential new patients. So if a doctor is in that bucket, that the phone is just not ringing, what can practices do to make this a good problem for them in terms of them having many calls to where they are now able to work on phone communication improvements? What's your suggestion
Absolutely.
there?
That's a great question. Like, we focus on helping practices get new patients, and our primary focus is SEO, which is search engine optimization through Google, and it is the lowest cost way to attract new patients. So one of the ways you can attract new patients is get into the top 5% of practices when it comes to Google SEO. Why? 5% get all the free traffic and phone calls. The 95% who are not in the top 5% pretty much have to pay a lot of money, either in the form of PPO write-offs or in the form of ads, to get those new patients. So I would recommend book a marketing strategy meeting. Let us do a full evaluation of where you are compared to your competition. And if you are already in the 5%, keep doing what you're doing, but more than likely you are not, because just like it says, it's only the top 5%. But if you're not in the 5%, the other thing we do is we'll give you a blueprint on how you can get to the top 5%. It's a $900 gift from us to you. And I think the link is insuranceuntangledcom/MSM. Yeah, I think that's probably a great way to go. I think if you are not getting enough new patient calls.
Yeah, SEO definitely works. We have clients that do SEO and they do it indefinitely, right? Because once it starts working, it's one of those things like, okay, we're not going to change what's working. And realistically, this is definitely something that can put you in that category of just being really busy with new patient opportunities. And then, having an opportunity to really work on and refine those intake calls, right? Those new patient calls. So check out insuranceuntangledcom/MSM. And we'll have that posted in the show notes for any of you that are driving, might not be able to write that down. So Naren, always great picking your brain. I really appreciate you sharing your knowledge and expertise on this very important subject of new patient phone calls, right? And mastering that to the level where we're getting above that industry average of 33% conversion, right? So thank you for that, Naren. And we want to thank our listeners for joining us today on another amazing episode of the Insurance Untangled podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to share this with your friends on social media. And also don't forget to like, or at least give us a review. Hopefully it's a 5-star review, and that will certainly help other doctors find our platform online. If you have any suggestions of topics or guests, feel free to get a hold of us. Visit insuranceuntangledcom to get a hold of us, as well as check out our webinar series that we do every quarter, right? So we have one coming up December 13th, 2024, and we'll have one every quarter moving forward. Thank you again for joining us. Until we meet again, we wish all of you the best of success.